Hi, I'm Charis, and today I want to share with you a deeply personal story, and it's one that has really shaped who I've become, and it's led to the creation of a guide that I'm now offering for sale on my website called Recovering from Religious Trauma. So I just want to share a little bit about my story. So I started going to an evangelical Baptist church with my aunt and uncle, probably before I could even talk. And we went 3 times a week. I went twice on Sundays and once on Wednesday nights. And if you have gone to an evangelical church, you are probably familiar with that cadence. And it was the kind of place where you're taught from the pulpit that you are worthless. You are only saved by the grace of a God who thinks you're never going to be good enough without him. And that fear and manipulation that they teach is clothed in judgment, and anyone who loves differently, believes differently, they're condemned. You're taught that you're better than that person because you have some sort of salvation from God. And it's a lot of what is packaged as love, just brimming with hate. And when I was little, I really struggled with that. I struggled with this idea that there was some all-powerful creator who only thought that I was good if I was a certain way, acted a certain way, believed a certain way. But it made me scared. I was afraid. I was afraid from, hearing this kind of rhetoric 3 times a week made me think that it was true. So when I was 11, my aunt and uncle, they moved away, and I stopped going to church because my parents didn't go regularly. And I was curious. I started researching different religions, different spiritual paths, different options for me. And by the time I was 14, I self-identified as a pagan, as a witch. I definitely kept that very hidden from my family for good reason, which we'll talk about soon. But I knew that this, for me, was the right path. This was my truth. And I knew that by the time I was 14 years old. The whole time that I am doing this research and really trying to figure out what the truth looks like for me, I'm also struggling with a guilt and this manipulation from my past that really had infiltrated my thought process. Even though I didn't agree with it, even though I didn't think it was right for me, I felt very guilty and afraid, and it made me a bit depressed. That depression really just escalated, and I ended up turning to drinking and doing drugs, and it got so devastating that I tried to take my own life. Finally, I ran away from home. When my parents found me after a very short-lived weekend and they brought me home, I decided that I wanted to try and live more authentically, and that I was going to tell them that I wasn't a Christian and that I was a pagan. Their reaction was not great, as I am guessing many of you might have experienced. They were a little extreme. They called over a pastor and his wife to save me from Satan. They did an exorcism, and I was only 14, and my parents and my brother were acting as though I had destroyed the family and telling me that I really was hurting everyone. And again, I was a kid. So I stepped right back into the boxes they had built and said, you're right. Accept Jesus. I will convert. So for the next 3 years, I went to their church 3 times a week, twice on Sundays and once on Wednesday, and I sat through fire and brimstone preaching. And finally, I tried to keep holding on to my path and knowing how much this wasn't right for me. And finally, I just broke down and converted. I thought I would give an honest-to-goodness try to Christianity and see what it felt like. Even though I tried and I let that fear and manipulation and desire for acceptance kind of lead me to deny my truth, I did want to give it an honest shot. And I kept doing things to like reason away. So even when I said, oh, I'm a Christian, I still didn't believe in this hell as a literal sense. I couldn't believe that someone who loved me so much would torture me because I didn't want to be with him. Like, to me, I could never make that fit. I kind of just put it on the back burner. When I met my husband, I kind of like stepped back from the church. I had some kind of shitty experiences in some other churches that I had tried when I left my parents' church. And that resulted in me wanting to just kind of step away because I was left with the ick about all of it. And so when I stepped away, I just kind of let it simmer on the back. Like, I didn't think too much about it. But then at the age of 28, we moved out of the state. And giving myself some distance from my family, specifically my parents, and the people who were in my life at that point, gave me the opportunity to kind of figure out what I believed and who I really was. The first thing that happened was I came out as bisexual. It was something I'd always felt, but had never allowed myself to really say aloud. I'd never given myself permission to label who I was or how I felt. Once I was able to do that and kind of put that label on myself and tell my husband and my close friends and the people who really mattered in my life, once I was able to do that, it kind of unleashed something in me. This desire to want to know more about who I authentically was. But even though I was starting to grow as a person, I had a lot of deep emotional trauma from the time that I had spent in the church. These doctrines and expectations that I grew up with left me with so much guilt and these horrible scars and fear and pain. And it was really hard for me to let that go. And I realized how I had spent all of this time being who someone else expected me to be, whether it was some God who expected me to live and love and choose to do things their way, or parents who felt the same. I had spent a long time being what others wanted for me to be. I then found my other soulmate in this lifetime, and when I found her and we fell in love, I had to reject norms of society. I had to choose to be in a relationship with her as well as with my husband, who I still love and adore so much. And because of that, I started thinking, okay, why are there so many things in my life that I do not to be happy, but because other people expect it of me? What boxes am I in? What has my life become because I have chosen to allow other people to dictate who I am, what I should fear, how I should believe, who I should love? And with that, I kind of came home to paganism and witchcraft. And it was kind of waiting for me. It was waiting there like I'd taken some detour, and I was back where I belonged. And in finding that, I also found tarot, which has been such a vital tool in my journey. It has helped not just for divination, but honestly, it has helped so much for healing and self-discovery and reflection. It has helped me to shape and become the person that I'm meant to be, and it has helped me heal from so many past wounds. Do not get me wrong, I'm also in therapy. Therapy has been incredibly beneficial and helpful for me. But at the same time, tarot has just been such an instrumental tool in helping with that healing process. It's also helped me with deconstruction and, using tarot and witchcraft in that process has really helped me to reclaim my personal power. I stopped living by the rules of a patriarchal religion and by the ideals that others had put forth for me, and I embraced my own spiritual autonomy. I released all of those harmful beliefs and I started to really and truly heal from all of the pain that was inflicted on me from religious trauma. I know that tarot can be beneficial because it helps you to look at things in a way that is different from how you viewed it in the past. Tarot has opened up my eyes to help me see things from a different perspective with a different lens, and those lenses have given me the power to heal myself. My healing journey was not straightforward. It isn't even finished, but it has been so incredibly transformative. I feel so much more at peace now, and I've been able to reflect and offer myself compassion. And I use the types of tools that I put into this guidebook to help me get here. So, what are you going to find in this guidebook? You're going to find journal prompts, affirmations, a link to a guided meditation that I created. There's a ritual, there's spell work, there are crystals and gods and goddesses that can help aid you on your journey. And there's some worksheets for personal exploration. At the end of the guide, there's a link to a Google form that you can submit, and I will provide you with a personalized tarot reading once you've submitted the form. This resource is compassionate, empowering, and it helps you to process and release harmful beliefs, heal from emotional wounds, and really reclaim your spiritual autonomy so you can go forward on your path in life confident that you are your own person and not letting that past trauma trip you up. So if you are struggling with religious trauma or you're looking to reclaim your own power that has been taken from you by some past religious experiences, I really invite you to explore this guide. Healing is possible. This guide will support you, and I'm here for you too. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you found this video at all helpful or informative. Leave a comment if you have experienced any religious trauma in your past, and let's support each other. We're all on this journey together. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.